Hello and welcome. Looks like we've got a few people here. I'm Graham, Acting Coordinator for Community Services, but I'll give people a few more minutes just to jump in and join us. So we've literally just started. Well, actually, we've started a few seconds early. So I'm going to turn my camera and microphone off for a minute. And Anna Elliott is also joining us. She's one of our teachers from Community Services, but we'll just leave our camera and microphone off for a minute and jump back in a sec once we've got a few more people logged in with us. But welcome. Looking forward to explaining how our courses work. Won't be long. So for those of you who've just joined us, my name's Graham. I'm the Acting Coordinator for Community Services. I'm just giving people a couple of minutes to jump in and get themselves settled. In the meantime, explore Livestorm. I believe there's a box that should appear on the right-hand side of your screen that will enable you to type any questions that you might have with us. So please feel free to use that chat function. Hopefully Anna, one of our teachers from the course, will be able to reply to some of those questions, or she might direct them to me. And looks like I've got a question already. Licinia. Licinia, my courses that I'm responsible for are the Diploma and the Certificate 4 of Community Services. So the Diploma of Nursing will be part of the health webinar. Or at least if it was missed. And Ash, no, we're not covering youth work. So youth work's with a different team as well. So I am literally the Diploma and the Cert 4 in Com Services. So I'm going to type some answers. I don't know whether Anna's able to type some answers in there as well. And everyone can see them. Sorry, we're brand new to this platform. We haven't used Livestorm before. Okay. So hopefully, Ash, that answers your question as well. I would imagine that there will be a similar session for youth work coming up. So the youth work, we're planning on doing face-to-face sessions as part of Open Month, but obviously with our current restrictions, we're not able to do face-to-face sessions. So I believe there'll be an announcement about youth work webinars probably on the website over the next couple of days, would be my guess. Okay, but you're more than welcome to stay and listen to what it is that we've got here. But the Cert 4 in youth work is kind of a mix and a blend between both of the courses that we're running. No worries at all. So I'm going to try and keep half an eye on the chat. It looks like we've got, let's see, about 23 of us in here. That's probably just under half of the people that had registered. So it's probably worth me getting started. And please feel free to type your questions in the chat box in the panel on the right-hand side of Livestorm, and we'll come round and answer those questions, probably do a bit of a Q&A at the end of the session. But what I wanted to do was, sort of give everybody an overview of the courses that I look after and that Anna teaches in. So I'm just trying to think, is that going to, I've lost a slide. So before I begin, I would actually like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. For me, I'm actually on the land of the Wurundjeri people, and I'd like to extend my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and any other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who may be here with us today. And then I think I can get started. Is there anything else that you wanted to jump in there and share, Anna? Anna's going to be quiet.
No, that's all good.
All good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good.
Okay,
can you hear me,
good.
Anna? Yep. Excellent.
Yes, I can. It's a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you.
So again, everyone, apologies if we're a little bit rusty with Livestorm today. This is literally the first time we've used Livestorm in a live environment. It's a really good platform from what I can see so far, but it's just not something that we're super comfortable with yet. But I'm sure we'll be old hands with it by the end of the day. So a little bit about Box Hill. So Box Hill Institute, what we know is that our flexible, industry-aligned and quality education offers you a life-changing experience. So from short courses all the way through to certificates, diplomas, and we've even got bachelor's courses here and postgrad qualifications. Our aim is to connect you with real industry skills. So when I actually look at our amazing team that we've got here in community services, we've got hundreds of years of experience when we combine it all together of work in the community services sector. And it's a really broad sector. So we've got people from all sorts of different parts. We'll talk about that as we go through the presentation as well. What we do is we teach you the skills to not just survive, but to thrive in the workplace. I'm sorry, was that a question I missed?
No, don't worry. I'm answering.
You've got it, Anna. Yes. And yes, there will be a webinar talking about the mental health course. I think it's next week. Okay. But it should be up on the website and you should be able to book in for it. Again, it was probably one of those ones that we were planning on doing face-to-face. But we're shifting it across to a webinar environment. Whereas our community, like this webinar, this was one that we'd planned regardless of whether we were sort of face-to-face or lockdown. I'll talk about that in a little bit too. So we're one of the leading vocational and higher education providers in Australia. We've got 3 campuses, Box Hill, Melbourne, Central Business District and Lilydale. Technically in Box Hill, we have 3 campuses. So we've got Whitehorse, Nelson and Elgar campus. So we've got quite a spread of different locations. For the diploma and the Cert 4 of community services at the moment, we're actually running it remotely. So we're not actually on campus as such at this point in time. But our home base is Elgar, but we do, when we're running sort of fully face-to-face classes, we sort of split our time between the Elgar Road campus and the Lilydale campus. So education is about learning for work and life. We'll prepare you for both. We have modern, well-equipped facilities that simulate work environments. And given that the future of healthcare is going to be including telehealth appointments, the fact that we're actually teaching our students in a remote learning environment is really helpful, because it means that when you go out to look for work in industry, you can actually say to people, I'm experienced with telehealth appointments and processes. And as I said, our staff are industry experienced and connected. So part of what we look for in our teaching team are people with really good, solid foundations in industry experience, and that they're fantastic teachers as well. And sometimes they can be hard to find, but when we find people like Anna, we hang on to them. So, it's a great place to work, and our team really love to work together and support each other. So when you graduate from Box Hill Institute, you'll have the skills and experience that employers are looking for. Okay. So Maria, you're asking about experience for that course. We'll actually talk about the courses in a little bit more detail in a few more slides, and what you might need to bring to each of the courses. So hold that question and I'll come back to it. So for Box Hill Institute, our point of difference is that 85% of our students are employed within 6 months of completing their study, and they earn a higher salary after graduating than university graduates. That can take some time to get there, but they absolutely do. The amazing thing for me is I'm looking at some of my students who have graduated within the last 6 months. They've actually done the course fully remotely, all amidst lockdowns in COVID. And I've got students who are actually employed in industry before they've finished their course. So, we're very much looking for community service workers out there in industry. And that's just a fantastic stat to sort of consider. What we do is we empower students with real industry experience, and expertise is part of our DNA. This is where we come from as teachers. We deliver essential and advanced skills for a wide range of industries that meet current industry expectations. So this is where we, as the community services team, we actually integrate and liaise with other teams in the institute as well. So we actually work really closely with youth work, early childhood, mental health, and the family violence teams, just for a start. That being said, we've got really solid relationships with the animal studies courses as well. So, there's that ability for us to actually work together internally in Box Hill and then share that industry knowledge out there as well. Student satisfaction has increased since moving to a blended delivery. So when I'm talking blended delivery, that's where we're talking about the fact that you don't come in and do your learning face-to-face on campus. So we use Microsoft Teams to deliver classes remotely at the moment. Once we get to a point where we're, not going to be facing ongoing lockdowns, we'll then be looking at, coming back onto campus. And in the meantime, we're doing a bit of a blended mode. For now, we're fully remote, but going forwards, we'll be looking at, so probably starting next year, having the occasional class on campus. So you've got that option of, doing your learning remotely and then actually still getting together as a class and getting to meet each other face to face to practice some skills, do assessments and stuff like that. So it's a really exciting time because education has changed as a result of COVID. And we were one of the first community services courses to actually flip to fully remote. And we're really proud of the resources that we've been able to develop there in a short space of time. And point number 4, industry collaboration results in quality placements and industry experience for students. So like I was saying, our teachers come with industry experience, but that also means that we actually bring our networking and connections with us, and we're actually able to support students to secure placements in real industry in community services locations. All right, so what I'm going to be covering for the rest of this webinar, and I don't think we'll take up the full hour, but we'll see how we go. Depends on how many questions you guys have got. So welcome. I've kind of covered that already. Presenter's introduction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me as the acting coordinator of community services. Bit of a course overview and structure, including course delivery and COVID-19, because we do need to be thinking about that. We're going to talk about some career outcomes. So what does a future graduate earn? Some job outcomes and employability. And our connections with industry and work placement. So firstly, that's a much better photo of me than how I look today. That was me actually on a cruise ship pre-COVID, looking very, very relaxed, not quite how I look. But I'm the acting coordinator for community services. I started my career, probably over 2 decades now ago in youth, drug and alcohol. I then moved on to working in homelessness. I have a background in counselling, and I most recently worked as a child protection practitioner with the Department of Health and Human Services, which is now the Department of Families, Fairness and Housing. I like reading, watching science fiction and fantasy, and I volunteer with Scouts as a leader. At home, I've got 3 border collies and a large family, so there's rarely any downtime. I've been teaching at Box Hill Institute for a little over 4 years, and I've been teaching on and off for about 10. And it's only been this year that I've actually stepped up into that acting coordinator role. So my background at Box Hill is very much that I'm part of the teaching team, but I'm now supporting and looking after our team of teachers to make sure that they're providing you guys with a real quality product. In terms of my background, I hold a Bachelor of Behavioural Science, which is a fancy way of saying psychology, a Certificate in Training and Assessment, and a Diploma of Professional Writing and Editing. And I'm currently studying an associate degree in vocational education and training. So that will make me a better teacher. Well, I hope. But what you'll actually notice is as you get to meet our teachers once you're enrolled in the course is that all of us are probably studying in some way, shape or form because we're people who love learning and we love being better at what it is that we're doing. You know, we're not a team who sort of just rests on our laurels and sits there and doesn't look at our own development. We want to learn as much as we want to teach. Alrighty, so a bit of a course overview. So like I said, I'm responsible for the community services teams within the broader community services focus of our faculty. So it's the two courses that I look after is the Certificate 4 in Community Services, or CHC 42015, and the Diploma of Community Services. Oh, there's a typo. I dropped out services. That's really bad of me. But that's CHC 52015. Looking at the Certificate 4 in Community Services, this is a great entry-level course. So for someone who is wanting to do a really quick career change, to turn around and go, I want the basic knowledge to actually learn how to work in community services and go and get a job and start working. Particularly for someone who's maybe not quite sure where in community services they want to go, this is a fantastic course. So it's a 12-month course. It's delivered face-to-face, and by face-to-face currently, that means on Microsoft Teams 3 days a week. The current team who are actually working on that at the moment, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If we're looking at someone who, say, wanted to join us in October, that would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that you'd be committing to there. If you are looking at joining us in February, you might have the option then of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I haven't quite decided sort of where to go there. So Dawn, both of our courses are full-time courses. It looks like Anna's typing in there too. We don't currently have any after-hours versions of the courses. We just don't find that there's enough numbers to sustain that for a period of time. So if you're working full-time, it would definitely be difficult to actually study either of these courses. And you probably find that would be the same with most of the TAFE courses at Box Hill. Alrighty. In terms of the Cert 4 in Community Services, there's 15 units across 2 semesters. You do 8 units in semester 1 and then 7 units in semester 2. And we are currently doing term-by-term intakes. So we've got a group of students, I want to say it's about sort of 15 or 16 students currently studying Cert 4 in Community Services. But if you come in October, you'd actually join in with them. So then they'd be able to really quickly support you to get up to speed in the way that we teach and learn. The really great thing about the Cert 4 in Community Services, like I said, it's a 12-month course, but there's also no placement requirement. So you do the 3 days a week. You know that that's your commitment. You'll have to do a bit of homework along the way, but once you've submitted all of your work and been assessed as competent for each of the units, you're done, you're qualified, you graduate, and you can go and work in industry. For the Diploma of Community Services, oh, interesting question, Belle. So Belle has just asked, what's the workload like for the Cert 4? Is there an expected number of hours of homework? What I generally recommend is for each unit of study that you're doing, if you've got a full day of class, I'd be thinking that you'd want to spend like a equivalent to about half of that again across the week doing some homework. There will definitely be some homework for both of the courses. The diploma, it would probably actually be a little bit more than that. But certainly for the Cert 4, if you're doing a 5 or 6 hour day in class, and you're probably looking at about 2.5 to 3 hours of homework that you do that week for that unit. And what you'll find is that some weeks there'll be more work, and for other weeks there'll be less work, depending on when different assessment tasks are due. And when we said the 3 days a week, you're actually studying 3 different units or 3 different subjects across that week. So, Monday would be one subject, Tuesday would be a different subject, and Wednesday would be a third subject. So sometimes the assessment tasks will be offset. They won't all be due in the same week, but sometimes you might have a backlog of assessment tasks all due in a fairly close space of time. So finding a work-life balance there is really important, and certainly we've got some support systems in place to help and encourage students to actually learn some really good study skills, to actually be able to then balance all of the difficult challenges of work, study, and home life. With the Diploma of Community Services, it's an 18-month course, and it's studied in class 2 days a week for the whole entire course. So for the whole 18 months, and we try wherever possible to match the school terms. In fact, you tend to get sometimes a week either side extra off. So if you're a mum or a dad with school kids at home, you know that when you get to the school holidays, you won't actually have class commitments during the school holidays. You might still have some homework to work on, but you won't actually have class commitments during the school holidays. As I said, the diploma is an 18-month course studied 2 days a week for the entirety of the course. There are 16 units across those 3 semesters. So in the first semester, it's 5. In the second semester, it's 5. And then in the last semester, it's 6. And when we say semester, semester is equivalent to 2 terms or 6 months. We're currently doing February and July intakes. We do currently have open, and it's filling quickly, an October intake this year. So if you were to start in October this year, you would then finish by Easter in 2023. All right. The big commitment here with the Diploma of Community Services is that there is 400 hours of placement. So the way that's normally structured is in semester 2, you would do 200 hours of placement. And in semester 3, you would do 200 hours of placement. There's some flexibility in there as to when you do, you might do 150 and 250 in different blocks, but the total has to be 400 hours of placement. So this is where we're actually looking at, this is most definitely a full-time course. So when you look at it and go, oh, it's only 2 days a week, it's only 2 days a week in class for the first semester. And then as you hit stage 2 and stage 3, it's 2 days a week of class, and then you need to squeeze in. It works out to roughly 26 days of placement. So if you were looking at doing that 1 day a week, it's literally the full 6 months. If you were looking at doing placement for 2 days a week and we're working a full work day, it's 13 weeks. Okay. So it means that across the whole entire course, you're doing a total of 26. Is that right? 26. Hang on. I've got to do the maths. Sorry, it's probably 54 weeks days of placement across the whole entire course. Sorry, it's been a long day and I'm working on budgets at the moment. So my brain's a little bit fuzzy on the math, but if you do 2 days a week, it's 13 weeks in stage 2, 13 weeks in stage 3 that you would need to do placement. So when we say it's a full-time course, we really do mean it. We would generally expect that for most of the semester when you're in class, that you'd probably be doing 2 days a week of placement. So that is that 4 days a week commitment for the diploma. I'll come back to some of these questions. Actually, do you know what? I'm just going to run through some of the questions here before I move on to the next slide, because they probably relate to some of this content. So let me just have a look. So Maria was asking about experience for that course. So neither of these courses have what we call a prerequisite. You can start with either the Cert 4 or the diploma. You don't need to have done any previous study to get in. Some volunteer experience or some community experience can be really helpful for you, but there's no prerequisites as such. All right. Dawn's asking full-time. I feel like I've answered that one. Hopefully you're okay with that one, Dawn. So working full-time and studying full-time, you're going to have a significant overlap over there. It's probably going to be difficult to do. What we tend to find is students who attend less than 80% of classes actually really struggle to get the work done because there's so much work and learning done in that class environment. Belle's question about homework, I've answered. Licinia is asking, can you get credits if some units have been done in another course? Yes, you can, but the unit number has to be an exact match. So we've got a unit called CHC COM 003, which is Manage Workplace Communication Strategies or something to that effect. So if you already hold exactly the same unit, you can send us a copy of your transcript and you won't have to do that unit again. All right. If you've got an older version of a qualification with a number that's similar but different, unfortunately, it doesn't map exactly. And so we can't do a credit transfer for that one. Erin's asking, with there being no placement, could that affect employment in the future, meaning they might need us to have completed it? So, Erin, if you're looking for an entry-level job in community services, the Certificate 4 in community services is usually the minimum requirement that an organisation would need. We strongly encourage our Cert 4 students to actually seek out volunteer opportunities while they're doing the course. But when you look at the government's setup of the course, because we're guided by what the government tells us we need to deliver, they've actually quite clearly said to us, the way we've structured the course, that there's not a mandatory placement. And organisations might want you to have done placement, but that's where we say to people, go out and get some volunteer work if you possibly can, because that will really, really help to demonstrate some of your knowledge and experience, but it's not mandatory work placement. And Ellie's asking, some institutions say that you'll need a Cert 4 to do the diploma. Is Box Hill the same? No. So these are two very separate courses from each other. They're set up as separate and independent. The knowledge area, there's a whole lot of crossover. But if you were to do the Certificate 4 with us, you would then get, I think it's 2 units credited in the diploma. What some other institutes actually do is they say to do the diploma, you do the 12-month Cert 4, and then you do, say, a 6 or 8 months diploma to top it up to a diploma. That's not how we work. Okay, so the way we work is the 12-month Certificate 4 is one option. If you then choose to move up to do the diploma, it's an 18-month course. But you'd get credit for, like I said, I think it's 2 units. It might be 3. I need to check the numbers, but it's definitely 2 in that sense. Okay. And Jess has asked, are the 2 days for the diploma online? Could you do them out of class hours? So when I say it's remote or online, it is still regular class hours. So a regular class is 9:30 till 3. On the 2 days that it's delivered. There are activities, learning activities that you could absolutely do outside of that, but the class participation is the class participation. So even though we're remote, it's just like a classroom, but we're using Microsoft Teams. We've got the teacher who's delivering content, engaging students in discussions, doing workshops, all that sort of stuff. So there's no capacity at the moment to do the bulk of the work outside of those regular class hours. And what does the placement look like? So placement, I can probably talk in a little bit more detail about it afterwards, but just to give you an idea, it's going and actually shadowing a community services worker. So once you've actually determined what part of community services you might want to work in, you approach an agency and say, I'd like to do a student placement. And basically you go along and you join the team, you get allocated a supervisor while you're on placement, and you follow them around and find out what it is that they do. You participate in care team meetings, you might watch interviews or counselling sessions, you might participate in helping to develop a community development program. There's all sorts of different options, and we'll talk about some course outcomes in a little while. Okay, I'll keep moving, but keep those questions coming in. And what sort of volunteering? Same thing. A community services organisation. So, working with, a Salvation Army volunteer sort of food bank, going and finding a local homelessness service and actually volunteering some hours, finding a senior support group that, picks up food parcels and drops them off to the elderly. That kind of thing could be really, really good for you. Okay. All righty. My voice is going to be sore by the end of this. So let's talk a little bit more about what a community services, organisation or student looks like. So who's suited? Anyone who wants an entry-level job working with supporting people in community organisations. That's the Cert 4 in Comm Services. So it is very much that entry-level job. It's about, your first foot in the door. What we tend to find in our industry is a lot of people come to community services knowing that they want to help people. That's why we do what we do, but we don't necessarily know where it is we want to get to in terms of our longer term career. So this is a great course for someone who goes, I want to help people, but I don't know what I want to do yet. because you can get an entry-level job and then you get exposure to the breadth of options within our industry. And then you can start to specialize as you progress in your career. Some of your study pathway options are the Diploma of Community Services. So you'd be staying with our same team and then just moving up to the diploma. We also have a Bachelor of Community Services. That's after you complete a diploma. I'm pretty sure that's actually a minimum requirement for entry to the Bachelor at Box Hill. The really cool thing is if you do the 18-month diploma with us and then apply to do the Bachelor of Community Services, they knock off the first 12 months of their 3-year degree. Okay, so you do 18 months with us and that's equivalent to doing 12 months in that university level course. You also get automatic entry to Deakin in things like social work and psychology. Some of the career opportunities, and this could also include, volunteering and placement opportunities, is being a support worker for a business or organisation used by the NDIS. So the National Disability Insurance Scheme, there's a whole heap of organisations out there now who are providing support work to people with a mental or physical disability. And so people go out and provide care and support to people who are eligible under the NDIS. You could be an intake and assessment worker. So that's when someone walks through the door, they might get greeted by a receptionist, but then they go and actually have an interview with a worker who determines what help and support is it that you need. What can we do to help you? Do you need help with drug and alcohol? Do you need help with homelessness? And then actually refer them on to those appropriate services. Or a community engagement worker. So actually working with people out in the community. Sometimes that can be working in local government. Sometimes that can be working on some sort of community development project. Okay, there's lots and lots of different options out there. A Diploma of Community Services. This is a step up from the Cert 4, and it's really looking for anyone who wants to work in community service organisations, supporting people, but it's also people looking to support teams and developing innovative programs. So rather than it just being an entry-level job, anyone who comes out of a TAFE, you're looking at, you're not necessarily looking straight up at a management role because you do need to earn your stripes. You do need to work out how a community service organisation works. But what we're looking at here is the fact that we're actually training you to know your team manager or your supervisor's job. So you go out and you do a few years working in industry, and then you've got an opportunity to progress to a team leader. Well, we've already taught you some of the skills that a team leader would need to know as part of our course content. So you're already ready for that next job, not the first job, okay? Some pathway options are the Bachelor of Community Services, like I spoke about before, 18 months with us in the diploma, and then you get 12 months off on the Bachelor, and other tertiary courses like social work and psychology. The career opportunities are a little bit broader here as well. Okay, so like I said, because we're not looking at necessarily just that entry-level job into our industry, we're looking at some more complexity in the client work, complexity in the roles that you would actually take on. So a support worker for a business or organisation used by the NDIS, that's the same as the Cert 4. Intake and assessment worker, same as the Cert 4. Community engagement worker, same as the Cert 4. But then we move up to a family violence practitioner, or a child protection worker, or a corrections worker, a community development worker, or an advocacy worker. So those sorts of roles, they're more complex. We're looking for people with a little bit more knowledge and experience. And that's something that we actually look at. We've got units built into the diploma that actually would train you in the basic knowledge to be able to do some of those roles. You'll still need specialist industry knowledge once you get out there, but we teach you to be a generalist community services worker. All righty. Keep those questions coming in if you like as we go. And I'll keep moving on. So some of our facilities here on the right, this is our Lakeside campus. The joy of being out at our Lakeside campus when we can be face-to-face is that it literally does look over Lilydale Lake. It's a beautiful spot to be. And this is our Elgar campus down on the corner of Elgar and Whitehorse Road. And like I said, that's where I'm based in terms of my office, and most of our team are based there, but we share the love between each of the two campuses. So why study with us? What's really cool is that many of our alumni, and the word alumni, for those who don't know, are people who've graduated from a particular institution, work in community services industry organisations, including Anchor, who work in homelessness and based out of Lilydale, VACA, which is the Victorian Aboriginal Childcare Agency, and Child Protection. And they make a difference in the lives of at-risk families and individuals. I was literally talking to one of my students today who handed in her final piece of assessment task work this morning. I then sent her an email confirming that she'd met all of the criteria of the course. It's going to take a week or two for her to get a certificate in the mail. But by the end of the day, she messaged me back to say that her manager, who's got her working casually at the moment in a community services organisation in the Eastern region, can't name names, obviously, due to privacy, they've literally offered her a case manager role because she's finished her diploma today. So she's been on placement and they employed her part-time casually. And the moment that she finished her diploma, and when I say the moment, I mean literally like within an hour, they offered her a full-time job as a case manager. So that's the kind of thing that's really exciting for us with our students, that they get to go out on placement, and from that placement, they actually prove to those organisations that they're a decent worker and that they've got the required knowledge and skills, and they get employed. And that's part of what we do, is we teach practical and real skills. So we're committed to empowering students with real industry experience. And if you're looking to start a new career, find new work or build your skills, we'll connect you with the training that you need to get ahead in community services. Alrighty. So where can you go to get some more help? So here's where I link you off to different services that are available at Box Hill Institute, and then I'll come back around to questions and answers for the course itself. So we actually have a Skills and Jobs Centre based at both Lilydale and Elgar campuses, where you can actually go and get some guidance. And some of the questions they might be able to help you with is what career is right for you, what training is right for you, how do you get started, what's the right job. They can help you with your CV and your cover letter and job applications. We strongly encourage students, particularly those that have to do placement, to go and see the team at the Skills and Jobs Centre to get some help with a cover letter, a CV or resume, and job applications, because applying for placement is quite often just like applying for a job. And they've got a whole heap of other help and assistance available to you. There's an email address there that you can grab, sajc.elgar@boxhill.edu.au, or you can give them a call. All of this information is available on the Box Hill website as well. You'll be able to go and find the Skills and Job Centre from the Box Hill website. But because we're in training and we're getting you ready for industry, this is a big part of the support that we actually offer you alongside the course as well. Okay. So how to apply? So boxhill.edu.au/course inquiry. That's probably the best place to go. I'd imagine that most of you have probably already seen that link, given that you've been able to register for tonight's webinar. There's a whole heap of information out there. I need to update our website to reflect the course offerings that we've got. So just to clarify, for the Diploma of Community Services, I've got an October intake kicking off. That's filling quickly. And we're looking at having 2 groups start in February next year. And for our Cert 4 of Community Services, I definitely have places available for you to start in October. Okay. So no, not through VTAC, Ellie. It's direct entry. So I take it then that you're probably in Year 12. So yeah, it would just be a direct application with us online. Where is Nelson campus? So Elgar Road, the next main road is Nelson Road. So it's just behind, what is it? The Epworth Hospital at Box Hill. So it's well, not even 500 metres up the hill from the Elgar Road campus. And then Whitehorse campus is just the other side of the Box Hill shops. So there's 3 different campuses in Box Hill. So you can make a phone call. What I did want to show you actually, so I think, is that my last slide? Thank you. Yep. So any questions, customer service at boxhill.edu.au. I'm going to then just bear with me while I swap across, because I did actually want to show you. Why is that gone black? Sorry about that. What the application and enrolment process looks like. So prepare to apply. Gather documents as outlined in your application pack. So when you send an email through to that enrolments email address, they'll then send you out a pack for you to complete. So prepare to make your application, submit your application. So there's an applicant portal. So there's a whole, like, you can do most of your registering online. I don't think you actually have to come in face-to-face at all anymore. For both of our courses, you will need to do a pre-enrollment literacy and numeracy check. So we're checking if we need to provide you with any extra support around language or numeracy. Do we need to provide you with extra support to understand some of the industry jargon? Okay. So for all of our courses, we actually do require that, but that's actually not to determine whether you're going to get in or not. Okay, so Dawn, the October intake will be Thursday and Friday in terms of its classes. The February intake, I'm looking at the moment as having one group on Tuesday, Wednesday, and the other group Thursday, Friday. Timetables are always subject to change though, okay? But definitely my October intake for the diploma is Thursday, Friday. For our Cert 4 intake, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. I don't know, Anna, are you still there? Are you able to sort of type some of those answers that I've given as we go through into those boxes? So if anyone wants to...
Sure, I can do that. I was
that would be
wondering
great.
if you wanted me to do
Yeah,
that.
no, that would be fantastic because then I don't have to go back and type them at the end of the session. That would be marvelous. Anne's asked, do you
Sure.
organise your own placement or does Box Hill organise? It's a combination, okay? So we actually strongly encourage students to seek out their own placement because there are so many different parts of industry in community services. So whether it's drug and alcohol, whether it's homelessness, whether it's mental health, whether it's working with people with a disability, because there's so many different parts to our industry, we want to encourage students to seek out their own placement in their area of interest. And because we have students coming from such large areas, you know, I've got students from Sunshine as much as I've actually got a student at the moment from Mallacoota. Okay, so you know, we want students to be accessing their own local resources and making those connections. We do provide a lot of support alongside that as well. So we've actually got a placement administrator, and our teachers all have part of their role is to support you to find and secure a placement. So, you know, you can come and Anna's actually doing this with one group at the moment. She's catching up with students regularly and having a conversation with them, talking them through the application processes, giving them ideas of who to reach out to. So if you're interested in finding out, actually, do you know what? I'm going to be really cheeky. And I'm going to do for you guys what I do with some of my students at orientation. I'm going to show you a website to go and check out. And it's ethicaljobs.com.au. So we could actually go Melbourne, and we're going to go alcohol and other drugs. We're going to go, let's see, not social work. We're going to, we'll include youth in there. Rainbow community, LGBTIQA, family services, and we're going to search. Okay, so that will then give you a whole heap of different organizations that you could then approach to actually see if they have any placement opportunities. So hopefully that's helped answer your question, Anne. A diploma course is much more difficult compared to Cert 3 or Cert 4 courses. I'd say it's a step up, okay? One, it's 18 months. Two, the subjects are a little bit harder, and the level of written work that we're expecting from the students is a little bit more detailed. So part of what we do at Box Hill is what's called competency-based training and assessment. So what we're looking for you to do is to demonstrate your knowledge and understanding, and then demonstrate your skills in each of the subject areas that you're doing. So when you're doing that at a Cert 4 level, we're looking for you to demonstrate entry-level skills and entry-level knowledge. At a diploma, we're looking for you to demonstrate something that's, I guess, one rung up the employment chain, because we're training you to be a team leader. You're not going to necessarily be a team leader first job out, but that's what we're training you for. Okay. Yep. So infection prevention and control nurse, that's nursing. So that's probably not quite right, but AOD, that's alcohol and other drugs. Case managers, homelessness case managers. Ozchild, so that's working with families around sort of foster care and out of home care. primary therapist at Task Force. So Task Force is working with mental health and drug and alcohol. EDVOS, working in domestic violence. Maribyrnong and Moonee Valley Local Learning Employment Network, a project support officer. So there's lots and lots of different options out there in terms of the direction that you can go in. Both the Certificate 4 and the diploma are on the free TAFE list. Now, with free TAFE, you get one. You get one free TAFE in your lifetime, okay? So if you're considering using up your free TAFE, I would think carefully about which course is the right course for you right now. With the Cert 4, if you don't have eligibility for free TAFE, you kind of have to pay up front for it. There's government subsidies and things like that help, and you can go on a payment plan for it. With the diploma, because it's that next level up, and I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole about funding because student admin look after that. I'm the course coordinator, so I'm all about the teaching and the learning. But with the diploma, you're eligible then for what's called a higher education loan scheme if you're not eligible for free TAFE. Has it been confirmed that there is free TAFE for next year, semester 1, 2022? No, Licinia, it has not yet been confirmed. So what we would expect is that there will be. But at the moment, and even like when we look at this year, we only got confirmation very late in the year that free TAFE was going ahead this year. So it's a government decision. It's out of our hands. It's not something that we actually control. I would be very, very surprised if they remove free TAFE while we actually have a Labor government in Victoria, because that's a Labor government funded program. But, you know, I can't predict the future, unfortunately, and we haven't had anything definitive one way or the other. So I need to sort of reserve my response on that one. Jess is asking, can you defer semesters or once you start, is that it? Okay, so I'm assuming you're relating that to free TAFE. And I'll come to Anne's question in a second. So once you have started a free TAFE course, you can continue to do that same free TAFE course using your free TAFE funding, even if you defer and come back. Now, again, without being able to predict the future, what the government does from time to time, and it's usually every 5 to 6 years, so we're looking at this coming sooner rather than later, is that they will change the training package. So we'll get a new version of the Certificate 4 and the Diploma of Community Services, and the government may tell us that we need to actually design the course a little bit differently. So if you extend your course out too long because you defer it, you may actually find yourself caught out of having a partially completed Certificate 4 or Diploma that when you come back, you actually have to do a couple of extra units that you didn't originally anticipate, okay? So hopefully that helps with that one for you, Jess. Anne's asking, if free TAFE is not applicable because you've used one place, is there Skills First funding? Yes, there is, okay? Again, student admin are the best people to talk to about eligibility for that kind of stuff. I don't kind of want to get into sort of individual answers for each of you because everybody's circumstances will be a little bit different. But if you've already done a free TAFE course, there is absolutely the option to come and do one of these two courses as Skills First funded. I think that's easier with the diploma than the Certificate 4, but I'm not sure. Student admin will be able to answer those questions for you. Keep those questions coming in, guys. I'm really liking the questions. They're good. And I'm actually going to say yes, but depends. Check with student admin. So I'm answering some of those questions there too, Anna. Anna, oh, looks like I've lost Anna, actually. She's gone. Oh. Okay, that's why she stopped answering questions for me. So in terms of enrolling, I would strongly encourage you to get on your enrollment sooner rather than later. There's the diploma tends to fill up fairly quickly. The Cert 4, not so much, but at the same time, they're both fantastic courses, and we're very much looking forward to having people come on board. Oh, and of course, when we're talking sort of deferments and things like that, before you make any decisions about deferring, I strongly encourage people to, I'll stop sharing my screen. I strongly encourage people to make a time to come and have a chat with me, or whoever is the course coordinator at the time. All right, bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just moving some screens around so I can see you all properly. Okay. It looks like there's another question there. Oh, there's a few questions. Sorry. If you completed some of the core units of a prior course, of which I think there are 7, and also any electives, does this shorten the course length? Yes, it would. And what you'd need to do is you'd need to check the units that you've already completed against the units that we've got on the website. If you've got any of those, that would be a credit transfer. We do run the course structured. So we've got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So what it would probably mean, because different institutes deliver them in different orders, what it would probably mean for you is that you would have periods of time where you might only have to attend one day, or you might not have to attend at all. It might also reduce some placement hours if you've already done some placement as well. Okay. Licinia is asking, hang on. Sorry, I feel like I've lost a question there. If you're in Year 12, do you apply through VTAC, or can you do both, i.e. direct and VTAC? I'm pretty sure it's direct, but that would be a question for the enrolments team. So I can put that enrolments email address back up for you if you want. But yeah, that would be where, hang on, I've lost, where's my Acrobat? Oh. Sorry, I'm just looking to copy and paste that into the chat. Copy address. Yeah, so yeah, there's an email address there, admissions@boxhill.edu.au. I'd be strongly recommending that you check with them about entry. But my understanding is that we're not VTAC, that we're a direct course entry. Okay. Does RTO colleges fall under the free TAFE courses? Dawn, I don't know RTO colleges. I'm guessing that's a separate organisation to us. So my can't answer for them, but my understanding is that free TAFE is for the TAFE colleges, which are the big ones, which are government run, government funded. The independent training organisations, I don't think they're eligible for free TAFE. But again, you'd need to contact the individual college for that. How much does the course shorten by if you do get multiple credits? It depends on how many you get. Okay. And so that's where it would be a case of you could send through an email saying, here's my transcript, and we could then give you some advice. But it's not something that without checking your transcript, I certainly couldn't give you any advice on how much it would shorten by, because every unit has a different length and it's delivered in a different sequence. Okay, so mental health and community services. So the big difference at the moment between the mental health and the community services courses is that the mental health course that we've got up and running currently is the Certificate 4 in mental health. We're looking at having a diploma of mental health start, but I haven't actually spoken to Eileen, who's the course coordinator there, to see how that's going in terms of that being available to students at the start of next year. It might be the middle of the year that that's available. The Cert 4 in mental health is a 12-month course. It has 80 hours of placement attached to it. Again, most of our students who complete the course are employed, if not by the end of the course, then very soon thereafter. But the focus of the core work is on mental health specialities. So it is very much focused on working in the mental health sector, whereas the Certificate 4 and the Diploma of Community Services is teaching you to be a generalist worker, where you may actually end up working in mental health, but it doesn't mean that that's your only option. So someone who's trained in mental health, they're very much looking to work in mental health itself. Okay. Let's have a look. All right, thanks, Kirsten, and thanks, Dawn. Any other questions? So we've got about 5 minutes left. Happy to take some more questions for you if you like. What I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to try and type some answers to those ones that we haven't had answers, so that everybody gets the benefit. Okay. It depends. So the email address, send something like a transcript through to check. I'll put it in the answer to Lasinia's email. So comlac.mailbox@boxhill.edu.au. So if you've got any queries about sort of credit transfers and things like that, you can send an email through to comlac, comlak.mailbox, mailbox @boxhill.edu.au. I've just put that response in one of the questions on the questions panel. And then we can actually assess your eligibility and let you know how much credit you'd be able to have. All right. I'm saying thanks to a few people. You've been amazing. Thanks. Hopefully I've answered all of your questions. Okay, so Ellie, currently fully remote. Okay, so we're not actually at either campus at the moment, where the course is fully on MS Teams. So it's still regular classes. So classes are normally 9:30 till 3 on the days of class. I'll type this up in an answer in a sec. But we're not based at either campus at the moment. Okay, when we, excuse me, sorry, still in the middle of session. Sorry, the joys of working remotely. People are talking in the background. So, excuse me, just a sec, guys. Yeah, so we're not based at either campus. We haven't made a decision yet about coming back face-to-face and what that actually looks like. That will probably be next year. And at that point, what we'll probably end up doing is letting people decide, do they want Lilydale or do they want Elgar campus? They're our sort of two home bases. But at the moment, we're fully remote, so the actual campus doesn't matter right now. But going forwards, you know, we'd be communicating with students and sort of letting them know so that this is what's going to be happening when we come back face to face, and trying to work out what it is that people might want to choose in terms of a campus. All right, some more questions coming in. Thanks from Helene. Jess, do you get many mature age students enroll in the diploma? I'd actually say we get more mature age students than younger students. So we certainly have a lot of people coming into the course who have already had a career elsewhere in industry, in different types of industry, so not community services. I have had plumbers, I've had Taekwondo instructors, I've had people who've worked in retail, I've had people that have worked in hairdressing come in and go, I want to do something different. I want to help people in a different way to what I'm doing. And they come and do the diploma, and they do it as part of a career change. I have, I'd say, a lot of people who have got older kids. So, you know, they get to the point where kids are in high school or late primary school and go, I'm stuck at home. I'm not working at the moment. I've done my full-time parenting gig. And now I actually want to come and study so that I can actually get back out there into industry. And because it's been 10 years since they've actually been working full time, they actually want to learn a new skill set. So yeah, lots and lots of people. All righty. Looks like one more question in there. Okay, so there was an email address down there I gave you, which was comlac.mailbox@boxhill.edu.au. I'll copy that and pop it into your answer there, Dawn. So hang on, just bear with me. So comlac.mailbox is our admin person. And the reason I'm giving you that is because I am the acting coordinator. The comlac.mailbox@boxhill.edu.au email address is one that will be ongoing. So, you know, if I don't end up being acting coordinator in a couple of months, then, you know, you'll lose that ability to contact me because I'll actually be teaching or doing something different. But the comlac.mailbox email address is where you can send all of your course inquiries to. And Vanessa, who is our amazing admin, she'll actually pass those details on to whoever it needs to be. It'll probably be me, and then I'll probably reply to you directly. But certainly the safer option for you guys is to send an email inquiry to comlac.mailbox for the purposes of course inquiries in terms of the way the course works, course credits, all that kind of stuff. If it's to do with enrollments, you go through the application process as everyone else does because it's actually managed separately from us. Alrighty, unless there's any last minute questions, we've actually finished up for today. Thank you all so much for your time. And I'd encourage you, particularly if you're looking at the diploma, to get your enrolments processed as quick as you can. So just to actually let you all know too, as one final piece of advice, your enrolment is not confirmed until you have completed all of the required paperwork and paid whatever the fee was that you need. Oh, thanks, Dawn. Yeah, people tell me I'm a good teacher. So I'd like to think that this kind of a session is something that I've actually got a bit of experience with. I'd like to say thank you too to Anna for helping me out in the background, answering some of those questions. Really appreciate it. So Anna, I might give you a buzz on Teams in just a sec. But thanks everybody. So if you've got any further inquiries about the courses, so the Cert 4 or the diploma, please send them through to comlac.mailbox@boxhill.edu.au. And if you've got inquiries about enrolments, go and speak to the enrolments team and get your enrolment processed. It's not guaranteed until you've paid, just letting you know. All right, thanks so much for your time, guys. Really appreciate it.